False prophets are peddling a vision of Islam that is irreconcilable with tolerance and modernity and basic science. Today's terrorists can kill innocent people, but they don't pose an existential threat to our nation, and we must not make the mistake of elevating them as if they do.
They're sneaky, dirty rats. Sneaky, dirty rats. Sneaky, dirty rats.
How's that for change? You know, if I made an action movie about President Trump, I'd call it Executive Action. The tagline, in a world where presidents did nothing, one man did something.
In a world where presidents did nothing, one man did something. Executive Action.
Yes! It's true. President Trump has done more things this week than I do in a year. This is what men do, I guess, who don't drink. It's scary. He's signing all sorts of crap. He's like Chuck Norris with a pen. It's weird. It's like he's treating this like an actual job, the kind where people actually review your work. It's so unpresidential. And when he's not doing something, he seems irritated or bored. It's like he's addicted to results. He's not a commander-in-chief. He's a CEO, which I guess beats being the teacher's pet like his predecessor. And the critics can't keep up. They're like cats chasing a fish truck. Trump is all news all the time. When he breaks wind, we break in. He vowed to end sanctuary cities, and why not? After all, sanctuary cities sound nice, but they aren't. It's like wintry mix, which sounds like a dessert, but it'll kill you. Or Montezuma's Revenge, which actually sounds like a tasty drink, but I wouldn't drink it. Or maybe I would if I were in a movie. Sanctuary cities are the perfect left-wing dream. It sounds morally superior until criminal illegals kill citizens. Now, Trump also addressed terror and refugees sensibly. Extreme vetting. It's vetting, but more extreme. It makes sense. So it's no wonder protesters' brains are frying like spam on a hot sidewalk. But nothing he is doing is actually intrusive. The moratorium, enhancing border security, removing criminal aliens, hiring border agents, helping crime victims, none of these actions are as remotely interfering as Obamacare, Solyndra, the Iran deal, pardoning traitors. Do the protesters even see that? No, their heads are so far up their asses they can tongue their own tonsils. Meanwhile, that was disgusting. Get it out of my head, Greg. The media's being a mess. They're so out of shape after 8 years of sucking up to Obama. It's like watching a flabby arm wrestler take on an MMA fighter. It's like me trying to lift weights after a month in bed stuffing Twinkies down my throat. Trump's less a president than a manic Swiss Army knife. The media has just one tool, but Trump has like 70. You think you got a handle on the nail file, and out pops the corkscrew. It's kind of fun to watch. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He's so country, his pickup truck drives a pickup truck. Country music legend Larry Gatlin. She's so bright that in Maine, she's considered a lighthouse. Kennedy, host of Kennedy on Fox Business Network. He's so big that mountains climb him. TNA wrestler and Fox News contributor, Tyrus. And like a Smurf's blood, she's always blue. National Review reporter and Fox News contributor, Katherine Timpf. All right, Larry.
Yes.
Good to see you, music legend. How would you rate Trump's first week?
You told me not to quote Sophocles or something because nobody knew it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to quote God.
Okay.
People have heard of him. Well, there's a thing in the book. It says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." In this case, the lefties shall know the truth, and it shall really piss them off, you know? So the way I look at it, every day that the liberals and the progressives are torqued off, it's just a little ray of sunshine in my life.
Yeah, you've been happier.
A breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
so he made them mad. He must be doing. I thought he was great. Like you said, he actually came to work and did a job, did something.
Kennedy, I think his strategy is to throw so many punches that it's like, how do you defend it? He's signing this, he's doing that, he's talking to that person. He's a whirling dervish of dervishness.
Absolutely right, Greg.
Yes.
And whirly indeed. So I think what the left and particularly the progressive media are waiting for him to do is either exhaust himself and punch so many times and so hard that his arms fall off.
Yes.
Or spin himself into a fit of dizziness that he can't recover from. But it's funny because, you know, you asked what kind of a week he had, and there was so much. I mean, it was so voluminous, the number of executive actions that he signed to begin with, that you're actually going to need some historical perspective. You're going to need context and time to really figure out what this week meant, and we can't do it in 1 week.
It's just too much, Kat. I find myself sitting in a corner weeping. I'm so overwhelmed. How does the media respond to something like this? It seems like they're in a panic mode.
Yeah, they're responding kind of, can't help but notice how conservatives responded when Obama did the same thing his first couple days in office.
Yes.
Doesn't matter whether you agree with them or not. It's important to remember that when Obama came out with all these executive orders, the GOP literally sued Obama,
Yes.
King Obama. So it's important to remember, you know, I hope he uses all the branches. You know, you can be happy that he's going through what he said he would if you voted for him for these reasons. But I'm still a fan of small government.
Me too.
Yeah.
You know, this is a good point. Tyrus, I mean, this is not a conservative government anymore. This is actually government in action. He's actually doing stuff. What do you make of this?
I think he's setting the table. In terms, he's obviously cashing in on what he did in his campaign, which kind of helps because the people who voted him like, yeah, good job. But he's kind of pushing his Republicans in a corner to where Obama waited too long. He lost the House, he lost the Senate, and then he got in all the obstruction. He's setting the table. This is the stuff we're going to do. You guys go figure it out. The executive order, he still needs them to get things done as far as funding and things like that. But he set the table. So if somebody has an issue with it, they'll be outed very quickly.
Yeah.
So he's very smart business-wise.
It's a loyalty test, Larry.
Well, see, let's think about the parties for a minute. The Democratic Party that John F. Kennedy was a part of no longer exists. So I would
well, most of
offer
those people are dead.
Yeah, they're not around.
It's from historical perspective.
Oh, thank you, Larry.
Don't interrupt. I'm
Thank you
old. This is a career move, and I need this business. So what I'm saying is, so maybe the Republican Party, and I'm a conservative, you know. I really am. I'm a Republican. I have an R beside my name. But maybe that, with him, maybe that party doesn't really exist anymore, or very small fragments. So we're seeing a total rebuilding of both of them as they're scrambling around. I'm for small government too, but if it takes big government to undo the crappy big government we had, I'm all for him. Keep signing that crap.
That, you know, it's they can't beat him, join him, Kennedy. It's like we've been small government for so long. Where did that get us? Well, I mean, you're into smaller government than even I am.
Yeah, I want an anorexic government. I want the government to be smaller than an Olsen twin.
Yeah, oh my goodness. That's a small government.
Like a 1994 Olsen twin, to be completely honest. But the one thing that I do love is as people are scrambling to make sense of some of these executive actions, and it's really hard to tell, like, are they authoritarian? You have to read the language very closely before you pass judgment. But most people want to pass blanket judgment as though he's declared war on China already. But John Bolton's not.
But he hasn't done anything he didn't change any laws. He's just enforcing laws.
What I love is leftists are so upset at this amount of executive power, and you have to realize his predecessor concentrated this much power in the Oval Office over 8 years, as did George W. Bush. President Obama campaigned on limiting that kind of power. He only expanded it, including the surveillance state and droning American citizens.
Yes, that was good.
The phone in the pen thing, when Obama said that, all conservatives were like, you're not a dictator! But now Trump is kind of doing the same thing, and they're like, yay!
Yay!
Sorry, but I have to point out that that's just true.
But you know what? We live in an era, hypocrisy doesn't matter anymore. anymore,
No.
right? It's
No.
Apparently not.
And we deal with obstruction all the time.
Yeah.
Your own party can cut your ankles off from underneath you. Ask Obama. So why wait for them?
yeah.
These are my plans. You know what I was going to do. Here we go.
All right, I
If
got
you're
to move
being
on.
hypocritical, if you're honest about being hypocritical,
No, then you, yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a good
like,
point.
I didn't like it when he was doing it. I like it when our guy's doing it.
There you
It's
go.
fine with me. It works for me.
That's
It's
your
true, like,
T-shirt.
it's true. Like, I am very small government, but if I were president, I would first sign executive order making it a crime to not text me back.
Exactly. I am for small government, but if I became president, executive order would kill everybody with a man bun. Would I do that?
I think they do have a droning program.
For-
in the
they
works.
drone-
I think there was a man bun droning draft order.
Yes, there was.
You know, it hasn't
There
been
was.
officially signed, but
Yes. It's a disgusting trend. All right, we got to move on. We have so much to cover. Still to come, President Trump says torture works. As everyone who heard Ashley Judd last week, we can all agree. Oh, that woman's got issues. More issues than a newsstand. But first, here's a quick preview of the rest of the show.
Coming up on the Greg Gutfeld Show, meet an enterprising group of dogs who want to join the labor force. Why your morning commute just got a lot more rough. Plus, we've got 80 uninterrupted minutes of Joe Biden giving a thumbs up. It's the awesome montage you never knew you wanted. And later, just how good is Lou Dobbs at parallel parking? We've got driving tips from the world's most electrifying newsman. What do all these stories have in common? No Donald Trump, which is why we're not doing them. None of these stories on Gutfeld tonight.
Will the threat to disable get back on the table? The New York Times, whatever that is, reported this week that President Trump was considering lifting the ban on enhanced interrogation, better known to some as torture, or in my case, pleasure. And in an interview with ABC's David Muir and his hair, the president said he thinks torture works. Oddly enough, no one had any strong feelings on this.
I believe virtually all of my members are comfortable with the state of the law on that issue now.
And torture is illegal, and torture is not legal. So, and we agree with it not being legal.
They'd make a lovely gay couple. On Friday, President Trump was asked about the matter again, and he said this.
We have a great general who has just been appointed Secretary of Defense, General James Mattis, and he has stated publicly that he does not necessarily believe in torture or waterboarding, or however you want to define it, enhanced interrogation. I don't necessarily agree, but I would tell you that he will override because I'm giving him that power.
Now, when President Obama banned it, he let the whole world know that we don't torture. But see, Trump's a guy who, likes to keep his options open, and he doesn't like telegraphing his moves to the whole world. You think the idea of President Trump allowing torture didn't scare the crap out of the world? Of course it did. That's the point. All right. Kennedy, I have a theory. Defense Secretary Mattis is against torture kind of the way I'm against eating at Panera Bread. I won't do it unless it's the last option. What's wrong with having the last option?
well, why don't you ask Senator John McCain?
I could, but I know the answer.
Yeah, who spent several years as a prisoner of war being tortured, and I think he's probably the utmost authority on this, not only in Congress, but in our country. I mean, the guy, I know some people don't like their heroes who were captured, but he has such amazing personal perspective on this, and he says the torture is wrong and it's not something we should do, and we are better than that. And I know the president cites
that's my point,
that jihadists go lopping people's heads off and they do awful things to people, but let me tell you something. There are a bunch of people in Syria right now crossing monkey bars and wearing the same undies for several months at a time, and they're not going, ooh, they're going to torture now? Oh, I'm going to rethink my entire personal philosophy.
But okay, but I want to go to Larry because I know he'll agree with me.
That's right, Greg.
Kennedy said something that we hear an awful lot of. We're better than that.
I'm not.
I am not.
I'm not better.
I agree. I knew you were
I'm
going to.
sorry.
I am not a better person.
I'm not. No.
I'm not a better person.
But there's a difference in being personally against it and having the state torture people on our behalf, and that is wrong.
All right.
I honor Senator McCain. He is a patriot. I don't think he has an unbiased position. He was unfortunately tortured. The question is, how many of you ever did something really bad and you went home and your mama said, if you don't tell me what you did right now, I'm going to spank your butt? How many of y'all had that happen?
Yeah.
How much faster would you tell her the bad thing you did if she's going to waterboard your ass? That's what I want.
But we're not talking about people like you and I here, though, okay? These are people who are down to legit blow themselves up.
Yeah.
So I feel like waterboarding is like a pretty chill experience for them compared to that.
I don't think so, because you know
Blowing
what?
up's right now.
I don't think that's true, because waterboarding, okay, the people who blow themselves up have the end result being nirvana. Not nirvana, that's not what they call it. What do they call it? Heaven. Let's call it heaven. Let's call it heaven. Nirvana is a different religion.
Yeah, totally different.
But
Yeah.
totally different.
Completely
and not a
different
bad
religion.
one. But the point is, this is different because you're not letting them die. You're suspending them in a period of like absolute anguish, which is different.
This has been investigated, okay? A U.S. Select Committee, a Senate committee investigated this. They found a lot of problems with torture. They found that it doesn't really work. People fabricate things. Again, that these people don't really care if they're tortured.
Yes.
I don't really give...
I'm not
I don't
arguing
care
that.
what we do to terrorists. It doesn't really bother me that much what we do to terrorists because they're terrorists. Like, boo, for real, on those guys. But, you know, first of all, if you're talking about U.S. citizens, they have rights. And if we're talking about what is and is not effective, it's not so much for me about a personal vendetta as it is doing what's most effective.
All right, well, I'm with you on that, but that doesn't go against my last option argument. I'm saying maybe it doesn't work, but if you have no other options, Tyrus,
Yeah, use
why
the
the hell
word
not?
This is my care face. I don't give a damn what you do to him.
Yeah.
And you know what? And to your thing, sometimes the fear
Yeah.
is better than the actual act.
Right.
William Regal, who's a great old school wrestler, he never spanked his children, but they always were in fear of it. He said the day I spanked them, they lose the fear. So knowing that we could go to those depths to get what we need under discretion of if General Mathis said it had to be done, I'm good with that.
As a child, I was always scared that they weren't going to spank me.
But what was actually worse? The ass whipping or waiting for it?
Waiting for it.
The walk home from school?
Yes.
Yeah, and everyone knows,
You knew it
ooh,
was
yo,
happening.
yeah.
By the way, that happens now when you're married, when you're walking home.
But what's the ultimate goal? Do you think you're going to change people's behavior and you're going to dissuade people from becoming jihadists? That's not going to happen.
No,
Torture doesn't do that.
I just want to change. I just want to get one piece of information out of him because it might have to do with saving somebody's life, and then I'd kill him anyway.
When does that happen?
Why would they tell
Don't you watch 24? It happens on 24 all the time.
That's the problem. It's in fantasy. It happens.
That's
but
not
Kat's
fantasy.
But
That's a
Kat's talking
documentary,
about
Kennedy.
the classified 6,000-page Senate report where they went case after case and talked about not just waterboarding, because I actually agree with you. I don't know that waterboarding is torture, but there are some of those enhanced interrogation techniques that we don't talk about openly that are so disgusting that we shouldn't be doing them as a nation. Our government should not be perpetrating certain acts against other
We're not doing it as a nation. We're having other people do it for us. But by the way,
that's not true.
You know what? We all talk about how horrible this is. What is the worst torture? Tickling. No one ever talks about tickling. Why don't we start tickling them? Have you ever, seriously, if you're ticklish, you will do anything to stop somebody from tickling you. Am I right?
Yeah.
Why are we tickling the terrorists?
Maybe we are.
You know what? Would you be against it?
No.
Tickling?
No, I mean...
Then you're a hypocrite.
I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not against... I said I don't care what we do to them. I'm saying let's try to talk about what's effective.
Tickling!
I like results. I'm a results person.
I like risotto. You know what the thing is? You know what's interesting too? But we got to go. We're all aware that you can't tickle yourself, right? Because you have what are these called? Fingers. They have sensor. They can feel, and so the area they're tickling. So your mind can't figure out what's being tickled.
And you're worried about me talking about Sophocles?
Yes.
And you're going into like finger.
My point is that's why tickling is so torturous, because you can't control it. Isn't that what waterboarding is? Just a funner way to tickle. More fun.
It's tickling with a slight hint of drowning.
Yes, a slight hint of tickling with drowning. All right, up next, I'm a moron. A scoop so juicy you'll need a bib to enjoy it. But first, a Secret Service agent who can't keep a secret. Should she be fired for sharing her views about her new boss on social media? That's next. Series Tease. She's drawing ire over the line of fire. I speak of a senior Secret Service agent facing criticism for suggesting she wouldn't protect President Trump. Carrie O'Grady, who's in charge of operations in Denver, that's in Colorado, Larry, wrote on Facebook back in October, quote, I would take jail time over a bullet or an endorsement for what I believe to be disaster to this country and the strong and amazing women and minorities who reside here. Hatch Act be damned. I think that's a reference to Richard Hatch. I am with her. Actually, the Hatch Act bans certain federal employees from advocating for or against a political party, including on social media. Meanwhile, O'Grady has since deleted the post, telling the Washington Examiner she's proud of her job, and does it to serve the office of the president. As punishment, she's been forced to listen to 24 straight hours of this. Oh, boy. All right. I'll go to you, Kat. Shouldn't she resign? Like, for example, if you were working at Fox News and you let the bosses know, I just want to let you know that I'm not going to be talking about politics.
Yeah.
Or I'm not even going to show up today. You relinquish your job.
She should resign. However, it is important to note that she wrote this in October when literally everybody thought Hillary was going to be president, you know, except for the people who watched. She probably thought that was the common knowledge or common thought that everybody had. So it's kind of like when the things you text to other men when you're dating a guy but not officially yet, and you don't worry about it because technically you're not responsible, so you don't think about it until you and the guy start dating and he goes through your phone, and then you wish you'd taken some time to do some deleting. That's exactly what
this sounds like something just happened.
Maybe.
Yes. All right. Well, that's too bad. I have a theory, Larry. I call it TSDD, Trump Self-Destruction Disorder, in which Donald Trump, or the election causes you to destroy your career. You see Madonna talking about bombing things and whatever. It's like it short circuits your brain, so you just do stupid things.
Yeah, they're so fried over the whole thing. I mean, aren't there like things? If you're a basketball player, aren't you supposed to shoot? I mean, what if Tom Brady, cheater, Tom Brady, cheater.
Watch your mouth.
Yeah.
Watch your mouth. The man's a saint.
Okay, man.
The man's a saint.
The man's a saint.
What are you sitting up for?
I don't know if you want to
Rest yourself. Rest yourself.
Hold me back, please. Someone hold me. No, what if he just said, okay, we got a ball game coming up. If it's over like 12 yards, my arm hurts, I'm just not going to throw it. Well, I mean, come on. If the lady, if she doesn't, the qualification for the job, hell, let's waterboard her.
Oh, my goodness.
I think the Hillary laugh is actually
the whole
worse.
point.
Wait, which one
We're
was
missing the whole point.
Okay,
the
what's
whole thing. Listen, I was in executive protection.
Yeah.
My job was to protect Snoop. I didn't.
That's
really
Snoop Dogg, too. Everybody over
I don't need a name drop, but if I didn't like his music, which I really didn't, but my job, I took a job. I have a team. They rely on me. And if I said to them, driving in the car one day, we were taking them to a concert, you know what, if someone tried to shoot him, I'm quit.
Yeah.
You know, that whole team wouldn't work with me anymore.
Right.
You do your job. Her job is to protect the office. She shouldn't take political stands. It doesn't matter if Trump was behind 20 million votes. Your job is to protect the office, not to mention your team. I wouldn't walk across the street with her.
Yeah.
No,
Can you imagine?
It's your job.
So I was speaking with a family member in law enforcement who said, well, I think she's going to enjoy her new detail in Nome, Alaska, where she'll be mopping up after the agents at the end of the day. It's going to be real fun. She might be reassigned. But she should absolutely be fired. I mean, it's like a surgeon walking into an operating room, scrubbing in, and being sterilized, and the patient is anesthetized and just going, I'm not going to operate. I'm just not going to do it.
I don't like his
I'm just not going to do surgery. I'm just not going to.
No, he's a liberal. I mean, he's a conservative.
But
Oh, my
like,
God, I can't operate on.
I'm with her. Therefore, I wouldn't take a bullet for Donald Trump. That is, you know, when you're looking down the job description, 1A is take a bullet for the president. 1B is shut your pie hole. And, you know, she's having difficulty doing the first two things on the job description list.
It's called secret. She can't keep a secret. And service, and she can't service.
She was probably drunk.
She
She was probably very drunk at the time when she
was very
wrote
drunk.
it. Yeah.
Yes, she was
She's
very
having
drunk.
some Sauvignon
She was
Blanc.
like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to say how I really feel. We've all done
And
it.
by the way, there's a lot of women who would love that job, a lot of women who would love that opportunity, and she's supposed to set an example as one of the few women who's a Secret Service agent, and she's showing herself as to be emotional about
A
this.
coward.
Yeah.
Please don't equate my entire gender with this woman. Please.
I did that for you.
You did that just for me. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
But yeah, I keep things I shouldn't be saying on Facebook. They only affect my personal life, not my professional life.
Yes.
That's not good.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, I'm alone a lot.
All right. Coming up, a story so electric it could power your toaster. But first, President Trump wants to send the feds into Chicago to clean things up. They should start with a river. It smells terrible after it rains.
If you'll be in the New York area and would like to be part of our studio audience, email Greg Tix at foxnews.com.
Does that sort of thing. Okay, all right. They went from foes to bros. Could Rom and Don, once arch enemies, become the new unstoppable crime duo? President Trump has threatened to send the feds into the city of Chicago over their crime epidemic. I wonder if he wants them to fix the problem.
I want them to fix the problem. You can't have thousands of people being shot in a city, in a country that I happen to be president of. I say you have to smarten up and you have to toughen up because you can't let that happen. That's a war zone.
This is a warning.
I want them to straighten out the problem. It's a big problem.
It is. It's a big problem. Here's the mayor's response.
I would welcome, always have, welcome federal participation in working with local law enforcement to dealing with guns and gangs.
Well, there you go. Everyone's happy. I think we're making progress already, isn't it? It's only been 1 week. All right, Tyrus, what's going on in Chicago? And everything seems so out of control. And I can't believe that Rahm Emanuel doesn't know how to stop it. Why isn't he stopping it?
Well, Chicago's history of gang violence goes back forever. And it's not just the socioeconomic, it's poverty. It's no new education, no schools. There's no jobs. You know, the drug trafficking is unbelievable. And that's basically what the fight is about, is guns and drugs. And that there is a lot of different ways to go to fix that. A lot of people are like, oh, feds, because at one point I had said that, you know, putting a military guy in every corner, a soldier just for the deterrent, for people to have someplace to go to. The feds can help. I just think the verbiage doesn't sound right, threatening to send in the feds. They need help. Everyday people out there can't leave their house. They need help.
See, I have a theory, Larry, that Rahm Emanuel is a victim of his own PC mentality. He knows what to do. But if you do it, you will be considered a bigot or racist by targeting like minorities because they happen to be also victims of crimes, but they're also causing the crimes in these instances in these gangs. And I think that's what's paralyzing him.
Well, I agree with you that there's part of it. I think it goes a lot farther than that. Politicians do crappy things, okay? They pander to their base so that they can what? Get elected. That's rule one. You know what rule two is? Get reelected. So they pander to me, it is blatantly to curry favor with the black, the Hispanic communities where most of this stuff is taking place.
But don't they want the crime to stop too?
Well, of course they do, but they're not the mayor. He doesn't want. If you bring people in, like you say, you're being PC, and whatever group they're members of, they'll come vote for you. Come on, it's the immigration has so much to do with that. It's. Our president a while ago in your before your deal said it was that ISIS was not an existential. It was an existential threat to Kate Steinle. Wasn't that her name? And to other people who are getting killed. Sanctuary city. Hey, I've got an idea. Let's let a bunch of bad guys in and not do anything about it. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
But
Come on.
you know,
Not all
to Tyrus's point,
That's
you know,
true.
it's about drugs. And it's about guns. And those are two areas where there is strict prohibition in Chicago.
Of both.
So,
Yes,
you know, perhaps if you legalize drugs and create a legitimate market, I know that's heresy in some circles, and
Not
also
mine.
allow people to defend themselves, allow people to exercise their Second Amendment rights, I think you would see things change drastically. Rahm Emanuel hates cops.
Right.
Rahm Emanuel is an incompetent mayor. And before you bring the federal government in and, you know, create martial law, Rosie O'Donnell, I think you should impeach the mayor. And you really should fix things locally and get someone in that position who actually stands up for law enforcement so they can do their job and they don't feel hamstrung. Like, excuse me, I get so emotional. Like they do in big cities like New York.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, may not be able to put a policeman or military guy on every corner. Put a red hot mama with a 45. You know, I'm gonna protect my kids.
That's absolutely right.
You come in, you come try to sell drugs to me.
I could
I'm
totally
gonna put
see
two
that in
right
Donald
here.
Trump's America. Absolutely.
Wow, isn't that great?
No, I mean, the fact is, Chicago is an overwhelmingly liberal city. A lot of these cities run by liberals have the same problems, Kat. So what's your solution?
I agree
Miss
with
Smarty
Kennedy as a
Pants?
libertarian.
Yes.
Legalize drugs, let people protect themselves. And yeah, I don't know if Trump using it as a threat, saying, well, I'm going to send in the feds, that's sending in help, and that's making him not have to solve his own problems when things should be solved more locally. Like if Trump were to say to me, your room, your apartment is disgusting, I'm going to send in the feds, I'd be like, not offended. I'd be like, great, the feds are going to clean my room as long as I have time to hide some things. Then...
I would never do that to the feds. The feds would come and go.
I'd be like, perfect, I don't have to do
The
it.
feds would go, how many people are living in this tiny room?
A person and a cat. Yeah.
Having another set of eyes in a war zone is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
The police department, they had that report come out with the corruption and the excessive violence and stuff like that because they're overwhelmed and they're fighting just like a situation where they're fighting a war that they can't win either. So having another set of eyes, and because some people feel like they can't go to the police. Maybe they can't go to the feds for help.
You know what I also hate? Because Chicago is a sanctuary city. Why is it only for one illegality but not for others? I mean, if you can have a sanctuary city for citizenship, why not for nudists or peyote users or smokers or taxes? Like if I decide that I don't want to pay taxes, what if a city becomes a sanctuary
There's
city?
the Berkeley boy coming out.
I love the idea of peyote.
No, but I mean, like, I would go to a sanctuary city for nudists if they also didn't have taxes and peyote. If there was peyote there, I might think about it. Yeah. But I guess my point is, Rahm Emanuel embraces sanctuary cities because it's a symbolic battle without any foreseeable consequences among the politicians, meanwhile avoiding these real problems. Still to come, Larry says something folksy. But first, celebrities gotten mad. And by mad, I mean stupid. We'll award the Oscar for the most over-the-top Trump freakout next. Jane Fonda, Madonna, Chelsea Handler, they're not just things that make you vomit. They're also the celebrities who railed against the president and first lady this week. Jane Fonda, she picketed the president's order to resume the North Dakota pipelines. What did I call that? Then yelled into a megaphone.
It's in the White House. I refuse to say his name. I call him the Predator-in-Chief.
Oh, clever. Chelsea Handler, she took a shot at Melania Trump.
Would you ever have Donald Trump on your show?
No.
What if he asked you?
No.
What about Melania? Would you have her on your show?
Melania? What, to talk about what? She can barely speak English.
Ah, that's not racist. Handler also tweeted, blink if you need help, Melania Trump. That's an original joke. I think I heard it 45 times in 1 hour on Saturday. Leftists are anything but original. And Madonna, she claimed her comments about blowing up the White House were taken out of context and that she was speaking in metaphor. I don't think she was. We went to Hollywood's highest paid actor for rebuttal. Stunning. You know, Larry, you're a country music legend. You've been around for 70, 80 years.
It's true.
But you also have political beliefs, which you talk about. So can you give advice to somebody like Madonna without being a hypocrite? Because you say often provocative things, right?
Absolutely, if you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But if you can't read, write, or trace, I'm not really going to pay much attention to what you're... You know, Peggy Noonan said in the Wall Street Journal 6 or 8 weeks ago, she said, those who do not read deeply will not think deeply. I don't think anybody can...
I didn't read that.
Well, you should. Think that they really, really know what they're talking about. That thing right there, those are the most addictive substance on this planet, is the spotlight. I know. Once you've been in it, when you're ushered out of it, it kills you. these people, are you digging it? Is it true?
Yeah.
It's true. So getting back into it, if they really could make a great argument about what they were talking about, personally, for me, and it comes back to this as a conservative, this is one of the things, you have lost the moral high ground to me to talk to me about anything about Donald Trump or anybody else. If you really believe it's okay to stop a beating heart in a mother's womb and sell the baby parts to buy a Lamborghini, I'm sorry, you don't have any credence for me. So they're actors and actresses doing wonderful performances, and they couldn't point to D.C. or Syria on a map, and they're telling us to get out. I just blow it off.
Kennedy, you've probably interviewed many of these people or know many of these people in your vast history on MTV. Are we too hard on these people?
No, I think they're making it so we're forced to be hard on them because they're putting themselves and their opinions out there, and it's completely fair for people who disagree with them to take them apart, which isn't easy. It's not difficult to do, rather. This is what I will say about Madonna, and I think this is actually very serious. And no one's really discussed this issue this week. She had someone, a stalker, shot and killed at her house who was trying to get to her.
Really?
And she has, that's absolutely true, in Los Angeles, in Los Feliz. And she has had a number of stalkers over the years who are so mentally unstable that, you know, she may say something like this that she considers to be metaphorical, but considering that she's had a fatal incident in her own home, I think I would be very measured in my words when I talk about violence, even in the most metaphorical sense, especially with a new president in the first day of his administration.
That's an excellent point.
That's great.
Kat, does it drive you crazy to think that if you had adopted Lena Dunham's political views, you might be more successful than you are now?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, haven't you ever thought about selling out? We've all thought about it.
No, I
like you
realize
said,
that.
I love attention. It's my favorite thing. I'm a millennial. It's a millennial currency, as I've said before, having people pay attention to you and listen to you talk. But no, I like also sleeping at night. That's my second favorite thing.
Oh, that's
so I can't. Lena Dunham, some of the stuff she says is so stupid. And finally, we're seeing people not listen to these people.
Right.
You know, people saying, I'm looking at Lena Dunham. I don't want to be that.
Yeah. Lena Dunham says that.
Yeah, she'd have to.
Yes. No mirrors in her house. Tyrus!
Just video cameras.
Uh-oh. Here we go. What's this?
My care face.
Care face right there.
I give two damns what an old pop star has to say about anything. So,
Yeah.
They're celebrities and they right to the opinion, but now because they took the low ground when they're supposed to be taking the high ground. Remember, they go low, we go high. Remember that BS?
They're always high.
They're going pretty low now. They're insulting his wife, and you want to talk about the president. If you have a personal beef or whatever, cool. But respect the office. But realize when you say things like that, as she pointed out, there's people that don't have in this world that don't have the common sense to not know what you're saying is true.
Right. I have.
Let them do it. They're making themselves look like. Go for it.
That's my point. You know, it actually, in my opinion, it's great when they speak out because they reveal the illusion of rebellion. We realize that Jane Fonda was never really a rebel, neither was Madonna. They're all in lockstep, and it's all been a lie that they're edgy. They're not edgy. They all believe the same thing that makes them such.
If the cameras are on.
Yeah. Don't go anywhere. If you leave now, you're just a quitter, and no one likes a quitter. Final thoughts next. Quick program note, we're taking the show on the road next weekend. We'll be live from Houston, which is in Texas, the site of Super Bowl 51, Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Finally tonight, Tyrus continues to introduce himself to his new co-workers at Fox News. Here is the latest installment of...
Mr. Rivera.
Come on in.
Hi.
Hey.
Fox News contributor, Tyrus.
Tyrus, how you doing?
Pleasure.
So who are you contributing for?
Greg Gutfeld.
Oh, hey, be perfect together. You know, like Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger in that Twins movie.
Yeah, because we wear sweaters together too. That's pretty cool.
Right, yeah. So what are you gonna do with Greg?
We're going to report the news, our style, our way, crack some jokes, have some fun. Try to get him off the unicorn thing. Maybe get him something a little more tougher. But, we'll see. If you
I just can't get over that. I mean, what does he come up to, about here on you?
Yes, he's incredibly short and I'm incredibly large, yes. If you had any advice to give me for working with Greg, what would you tell me?
Work with Gutfeld?
Yeah.
don't get ticked off by his sarcasm. This is a guy that lives in a sarcastic world. He's got this big sourpuss, but he's actually pretty funny. I love being on TV with him, but I could just see you sitting next to him as the sidekick. I mean, I could just see a bit where he's on the couch and you sit down.
It just flies, because I'm so big and he's so small. That joke never gets old.
Never get.
Learned a lot.
Great seeing you, and I wish you the best. And don't be a stranger.
Thanks to Larry Gatlin, Kennedy, Tyrus, Katherine, our studio audience. I'm Greg Gutfeld, and I love you, America.